So hi everyone and welcome to our panel. Today we have amazing marketers with us that I can't basically wait to hear them and talk to them. We have Gitit Greenberg, VP Marketing of EasySend. Hi Gitit. Jake Levant, VP Marketing of Lightico. And Roni Mizrahi, VP Product Growth from Duda.
Hello.
Hi, Roni. I'm Amit, Managing Partner at Marketing Envy. We are a B2B focused marketing agency, working a lot with companies that try to attract enterprise and mid-range customers all over the world. And SaaS is definitely something that we are highly focused on. So again, looking forward to this discussion. Gitit, please, a few words about yourself.
So, hi, I'm Gitit. I've actually done SaaS B2B marketing for over 10 years now. It's amazing how time flies when you have fun. I started at Google, and then I've moved to Similarweb, and my recent position just before starting EasySend was at Wix, where I managed marketing for partners, for agencies that are using Wix to build sites for their clients. Hi, Roni.
Yeah.
I just joined EasySend a month and a half ago. EasySend is basically transforming the insurance and banks industries and making them much more digitized and suitable for the digital era where we live in. So instead of forms like e-forms and PDFs and all those old formats, it's bringing it into this decade and giving the customer a real native digital branded experience that that doesn't feel like a form, doesn't feel like bureaucracy, and hence, cuts cost and increases conversions.
Thank you for that. Jake?
Sure. My name is Jake Levant. I grew up in big, fast-moving consumer goods companies. Procter & Gamble style, huge budgets, and about 15 years ago converted to digital, having so much fun with the tighter feedback loops, bit smaller budgets, but the faster time to market. I'm championing the marketing at Lightico. Lightico streamlines the entire customer journey in those old businesses, some of which Gitit has identified. If it's when you're buying healthcare and on the phone and it gets pretty sloppy, or if you insurance folks as well, that's pretty darn dangerous to buy insurance when you got to meet someone face to face, or banks and loans that no one wants to go see their banker anymore. So everyone's looking for that Amazon-esque experience. So we sell to very large enterprise, highly regulated businesses, but we try and put a bit of panache in there to show them that it can be, that they can turn their product, their end of the product, into an Amazon-like experience. So for the last 10, 15 years, I've been driving that consumer flair in the oldest of businesses. And so that reflects in our go-to-market as well. So that's us. We're having a great time, and our customers range from the largest banks to the largest insurers and telcos. But there's still so much more to do. If you've ever stand in line in a bank, then you know that we're not done here. That's our mission.
Thank you for that. Roni?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Roni Mizrahi. My background is, I would say, marketing and data. So mainly acquisition marketing, conversion optimization, marketing automation. I've been at Duda for 6 years. And a few months ago, I started actually managing a new team, the product growth team at Duda. Duda is a web design platform for agencies, freelancers, but also for hosting providers, publishers, and SaaS platforms. We have a very robust product. On one end, it allows agency and freelancers to build websites in-house for their customers. On the other end, it allows bigger companies to offer it as a DIY platform, completely white labeled under their brand. So on one end, as I said, it has very advanced features like API and access to code and all SSO, all of those features that SaaS platforms and hosters and publishers need. On the other end, we also have a very good product for their end clients that is more simplified and white labeled. Duda has been around for 10 years. We're actually growing very fast. And we have over 15 million sites published, created on the platform.
Awesome, thank you for that. So before we dive into, obviously you're coming from different backgrounds and also the companies are looking at SaaS differently. Now, when I look at SaaS in my own private world, I mean, we hardly see products, at least software products, that are not cloud-based anymore. So for me, the concept of SaaS is mainly that removes friction from when the user comes and is interested until when they start working. So while the definition is cloud business, the goal is to remove friction. And your products, your companies are dealing with it in a different way, each one. But before we dive into it, as a marketer, how did managing a SaaS product company, how did it change your role? So I know, Gitit, you've been in SaaS always, and Roni, you're also been in online for a long time. But if I'm not mistaken, even your role now, the marketing growth, the product growth, didn't exist 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, right? So let's start with you. How do you see this role, and how do you see the correlation between this role and actually having a SaaS product?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's one of those new roles that happened in the last few years. I think it's part of, in Duda, I would say, but this is not something specific to Duda. It's the understanding that at the end of the day, this forced, I would say, separation between the product team and the marketing team is not best practice, and is not placing the user in the middle. I think, as years go by, I think there is more and more understanding of how exactly and how important it is to actually put the user in the center, not just talk about that, but actually take action, even if it's against the organizational, classic chart or classic structure, in order to actually meet the needs and the pains and the journey in a much better way, because you have much better data that also support that and assist with that. So I think from my perspective, the user always was the center, but I think as years go by, I think the importance of it and the data around it actually makes it even more focused, I would say.
Jake, how has the VP marketing role for you changed in the last, if you think 10 years ago, what are the big differences you're seeing now with managing a SaaS, doing marketing for a SaaS product?
Well, one of the exciting things, I think, is that we used to have a two-pronged approach where we would create a brand and the demand would be fulfilled elsewhere. And throwing back to my consumer goods days, where you would create an image, a desire on a TV screen or an internet site, but you couldn't consummate the purchase there and then. That's not the case in our world now. In a SaaS, people are now more accustomed to showing their demand and the brand throughout the funnel. So the way we do marketing is very much brand and demand unified. And so I know that we talk a lot about product in that, but I wanted to focus on the fact that you need to continue to craft the brand throughout all the experiences, and those come towards demand and execution. So as more and more pockets of our customer base are more acclimatized to purchasing online, we can do the whole funnel online. So I think that what's exciting is that there's no end. It used to be that there only was the consumer who would dare download something online, dare swipe their credit card. But now we've got not just small, medium businesses, but the largest of enterprises that are willing to engage with you all digitally. And you can continue to stimulate them. Now, as you go into more and more enterprise deals, you need support with, to have a salesperson there and an account executive to pull them through. But what's really exciting over the course of the last decade, and I know I'm pretty young to talk about a decade, but is a decade of marketing. You've really seen that both these aspects are now both being able to manage more and more digitally. So more of the funnel is in our control. We can bring people not just an equity and interest, but to activation online. So that knows no bounds. And I think that in different businesses, it means all the way to execution and growth, no touch businesses. And even in enterprise businesses, we're able to pull them far down the funnel and even support usage throughout their life cycle. That's exciting.
And what is there like a task, a specific task that you do during the day that is taking way more time or didn't even exist 10 years ago that you find yourself doing today?
Oh, there's endless. I don't know what does exist. I've thrown out all those tools because I'm looking for tomorrow's tools and trying to bring them forward. And I'm looking at the equivalent of what's the next TikTok and how do I bring it into business world? So if we were doing it 5 years ago, it's probably not effective anymore. So we need to be thinking about the next gen of engagement and attraction and interest. And, there's only a little bit of lifespan for each tactic and strategy. You need to be continuing to reinvent because the hordes of other marketers are coming. So you have to be on the top of your game. So I don't think that the principles of, direct contact, engagement, those are going to remain the same. But how you do it evolves every day.
Thank you. Gitit, you've been doing SaaS marketing for 10 years at least. And yet, is there anything that I think now in a way, without SaaS onboarding, it's even less, I would say, focused on the product, but even are there things for you that you noticed that are completely different in the way that marketing was done 10 years ago that is related to SaaS and then the availability of the product?
Yeah, I think the main processes I saw with SaaS marketing is basically the ability to democratize, the use of technology. If 10 years ago, technology was mainly used by developers or very sophisticated users, now I think that products are much more, SaaS marketing and SaaS in general is going much more in a direction of no code, low code, basically enabling all users within the organization, within our customers' organizations, to be able to use the platform, to be able to customize the experience they're having based on the skills and their interest and what they want to achieve using your platform. And I think that changes the game because you need to be much more, in old days marketing, you would have to sit and build like a persona book. I think a persona book doesn't exist anymore because the ability to drill down into the custom use case of each one of your users and the client's users allow you to optimize the experience they're going throughout the funnel, top of funnel to bottom of funnel, in a way that nobody ever thought about 10 years ago.
And yet your product still is an old-fashioned leave a lead and we'll come back to you, right? Like you request people to leave a lead to give them a demo, also James. And despite all of that, we still do this, what I think is artificial separation between enterprise and mid and no enterprise. While we're forgetting that it's basically people that have shared experiences and shared know-how that basically want to test your product and use it. Right. And I'm wondering why, it's funny, 5 years ago, you would ask, why would you allow users to just onboard? Now you're asking, why not? So why, for example, you found self-onboarding something that you don't want to do in your product?
The reason we don't do self-onboarding, I think, I've come from companies that self-onboarding is like the holy grail, right? Google, SimilarWeb, Freemium, and Wix is like, they're all low-touch, mainly low-touch SaaS platforms. And the reason I think EasySend is not doing that has to do with the target audience and the level of education and the level of readiness that the market has. I think that 2 years from now, we might be in a freemium model. I think these days, we still need to educate the market. I can imagine what would happen if we opened the platform today for freemium. Well, people go in and, they would look one side, they would look the other side, and they wouldn't know where to begin. And so that just doesn't help, not the client and not us. And so it's a process that we need to go alongside with our client base. If I was marketing to marketeers, I would probably make this a freemium. But since I'm marketing to my target audience, which comes from more traditional industries, like Jake mentioned, like big insurance companies, where making a decision is very complex. This is a very core decision for their business to digitize their processes, their customer processes. This is a strategic decision. And therefore, with me exposing them to try and play with the platform would not support neither them or my sales process. And this is why I want still this experience to be mitigated by a salesperson.
Jake, same question. Is it the same answer, or do you have other reasoning?
So in the main, I think it's the same rationale in that it's putting a kid in a car. They don't know how to change gears. They don't know how to reach the steering wheel. We're talking to an audience that talks in different lexicon. They have green and black screens. They're playing with Coleco and Atari Vision, and we think, here's the latest PlayStation. They don't know what to do. And that's not to blame them, because they have different things that are important to them: security, compliance, integrations. And when we show something without guidance, they lose the value and the power of that. That said, that we actually have taken that to note, and there are other ways to get it to them, that you need to open their eyes as to what the differential can be between what they do today and where they need to go. And so you do create experiences for them. It's not a whole colossal get here yourself, figure it out. That's giving them work. I find that unhelpful. The people we speak to are very valuable, and their time is, really critical. And they don't care if it's this way or that way. They just want to know the result. And so rather than putting them into a place where here's the gearbox, here's a toolkit, figure it out yourself, that's not the most important conversation we can have with them. We need to talk about painting a better picture and how you can get there. The fact that it's no code, low code, use the red button, the green button, that's of no consequence to the nature of the person. And I think that we need to understand that not everyone is like us. We need to look into their persona and get into their shoes, how they make decisions, that it's the CIO, the compliance officer, that's who's breathing down their neck. And they have a bias to inaction. And that bias to inaction will be the same if we give them the fanciest, easygoing SaaS, no touch. They're not going to use it. So let's put that in perspective. If I want to change my persona, I know that there are fintechs that I can go to, and they'll figure it out. They want the API code and they'll go. That's not this particular audience. So firstly, I think that in the main, I agree with Gitit. We're a little bit different. It's just not helpful is my primary. It's not helpful.
But
they think about different things.
Sorry, the 30-year-old college graduate with 3 years experience in the company, who is the one who's testing new products, who is the one who's been told.
He's not the decision maker. He's not, he or she.
Shouldn't he be looking at your product? Shouldn't you give him?
We have resources for them, and we have resources available for them. But the first and foremost conversation is to create value and show how things can be better and paint a better picture and educate us to why things are unfortunate and how they are today. So I don't want to waste my bandwidth and very expensive time, both for us and for the prospect, on doodads and technical. It's not interesting. So I want to have a real serious business discussion. The other thing I do think is that probably there are high value ways to dramatize that through an experience. And so we do have that within our marketing mix and our sales mix, but onboarding is not helpful. Self-service, not for our audience. Maybe if we make a self-serve, it's just not you talk about, I can name any of our customers. That's not how we met them. We talked about, business value and digital transformation and core business processes. They trust us to get it done because I have the logos and the credentials to prove that. I need to think about them, not about me. It would be far easier for me to have a no-touch approach. It's just not easier for them. And so we need to work in concert.
Okay, Gitit, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I think it's like freemium makes a lot of sense when you can visualize what would be the end result of what you're doing. So when I go into Duda, I can, as an agency, I can visualize what would be the output. The output would be a site that I would build for my client. When I go into Lightico or EasySend, our target audience often can't even imagine how this process would look like once it's digitized and feels like a customer journey. It's something that is still far away for them. And therefore, since they can't even visualize it, there's no value in letting them do the freemium model.
I'm going to add on that, that there's whole segments of society and different offerings.
Sorry, I have to say that after listening to both you and Gitit, my question is to Roni. So, you're working with agencies, I'm sure, and this is your specialty, right? So it's not like Wix. You're actually showing them how is it to build a website. It can't be simple. It can't be simple to learn a new interface, and yet you decided to do self-onboarding. Was that like that from the start? Because after talking to Jackie and asking, why did you do self-onboarding? Maybe that is not the given option.
Right. So we work with agencies and we also work with SaaS platforms and hosting providers. So we have larger companies coming in. And what I agree about with Jake and Gitit, that showing the value of a product inside the product is a real challenge. It's always hard. But this is what we work on all the time. And this is why, someone from marketing came into product growth and inside the product team in order to make that happen. We understand that we need to find a way as a SaaS led, as a product led company, we need to find a way to let the product sell itself. We need to find a way to show the value, to show the business value, to do the right onboarding, to customize by persona, based on sign up fields, etc. But we do need to find a way to get people to understand the value of what we're trying to provide them, because Duda is not only about sites, it's also about more advanced features and additional ones that also are hard sometimes to explain. And it's not easy. No, it's not easy at the end of the day. But this is the challenge. If you're a product focused company, then make your product work for you, make the product sell. This is what we believe in Duda.
So this is exactly like, we work with a lot of startups and I meet daily basis. And the number one reason I find from startups who don't want to do self-onboarding is competition. They just don't want the competitor to look into what they're doing. And yeah, they're not, even if they're targeting enterprise. I mean, at the end, the way we see it is that those banks, and insurance companies, they have competitors that are young and fintech, and they do self-onboarding and they do all these things for their own clients. And so, isn't there like something of a problematic message on your part that you're selling in a less modern way on one hand, a modern product? Does that make sense? Is that something that you encounter sometimes? Sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah, you're asking me?
Basically, like, do you have anyone from a client that ever coming to you saying, oh, can we just check the product? Can we just look at a video of the product? Can we just start playing on our own?
So I think like Jack said, we have marketing collateral that allows you to see the product. Competition is, to be completely honest, is not something, it's not the reason why we're not doing it. The reason we're doing it is because we're touching, it's everything we mentioned before, and I want to emphasize again, we're touching a very core strategic decision. It's not a nice to have kind of thing. It's a commitment and an obligation from the organization that requires a lot of resources, and therefore the decision is not with those younger, out of college, 3 years experience, 30 years old. The decision is within the higher levels, C levels, and therefore it's a little bit of a different process. It's not a decision that you can make lightly. It's a cross organizational decision, and therefore the value for us is significantly lower in opening the platform.
So, which brings me, Roni, when you allow, when you allow onboarding, and in general, almost in all SaaS, even without low touch, high touch, the product and the website are starting to be have very blurry definition between them, right? So people can log in to the product from everywhere on the website, and people can look at resources from everywhere on the platform itself. And there's obviously, sometimes it's more pronounced, sometimes it's less, but coming to a product growth role, and I guess you still have product team, right? And you still have marketing team.
Right.
Who does what? How do you decide who does what on the website? How do you decide, if you want to change something, usually website used to be marketing purview, right? Marketing could have done, as a VP marketing, could have done whatever you want with the website. And you could even move the website. I'm sure that today, both you, Gitit, and Jake will find it hard to move the website to any platform that you want, because there's other technical, suddenly product issues involved. So I guess in a way you created a third team, but I'd like to hear more about the issues that were before and how you solved them, and then listen from Gitit and Jake as well.
So actually, it's not a third team; it's a bridge team. That's the goal of that, because as you said, right, the marketing is responsible for the website. The marketing is responsible for demand generation and for signups, and then the product takes control from there. And as I said, we understand from the user experience, from the user perspective, this is going from marketing to product. They don't care, right? The Duda experience started as soon as they clicked on this ad, right? And for them, it's seamless, from the time they click to landing page, website, the sign up process, the product, everything for them is Duda. So if we're trying to be focused on the user experience, and I think also Jake talked about that, about how brand and demand generation are more combined, then the product should be a part of it as well. And in order to try to disrupt this setup a bit, which is the product handles that, the marketing handles that, we actually built this product growth team, which is, which we have marketing inside, and we have, of course, data inside. And I actually report to do the CPO. So I'm part of the product team. And this is a way to disrupt that and try to think, make the product think more marketing and make the marketing think more product. And so the experience will become seamless for the user. All those separation that affect the experience of the user will settle down and become much more seamless.
Doesn't it create ownership issues, decision-making issues? You want to change something on the homepage, you want to change branding, you want to change messaging, you want to change something like that. Can you do it without talking to product? Is there a committee now?
We still have ownership. The marketing still owns the website and etc. But we do have a growth squad, not exactly a squad, I would call it a task force, right? A growth task force that every week we talk about the strategic issues, from demand generation, the VP product is there, the analyst, etc. And the strategic issue we talk about together as a team. Not every change on the website is strategic, right? But the strategic issue are being handled, together as a team. There is no other way to do that, because those separation where we've been there in the past are not what the user wants and needs.
And Jake, do you find that you have to consult the product team, or do you have an interface with them? Or is it something that's still not wholly integrated?
Well, of course, we work closely with them to understand our unique capabilities and make sure that we speak about them in the correct ways to set expectations and interest and hope for our prospects. But the level of integration and collaboration is not as pronounced, is not as demanding as what Roni was describing. It doesn't impact an immediate way the work that I do in the main to what the product does. As long as we are in step, they don't opine too much on what I do. I try and we work with them regularly to try and bring out the best within product, but we don't have that same lockstep. It's primarily because we have a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. Once we engage the customer, and we then work with them on developing the understanding of where they see the need. So there's a lot of product that is too detailed to put on the site. It's not relevant for our prospects. People who have already engaged need to know that stuff. And so we have it elsewhere. And then we come in and support that. So actually, we are like the igloo or the iceberg, pardon me. It's just another Titanic reference. We're like the Titanic in that iceberg that the marketing in our instance is only a little bit showing. Much of the marketing work we do is supporting product and the communication of that lower down the funnel. But product, as long as we got the top lines, our buyer doesn't have the patience to go much deeper. They put the analyst on for it later, and they'll come to those decisions later. So we support that. But it's not as closely intertwined as Roni described.
Gitit, do you have meetings with product? Is there a need to it? Are you measuring what's happening in the product?
Yeah, so our goal is to allow our users to be, as independent as it can be on the product, and therefore you need the support and the communication and the packaging of the product in a way that humans can relate and understand what's going on. So our work is to, alongside the product, is to make sure that, the terms that we're using, the way that we package things, the way that we explain things, even like a small notification, onboarding videos, all this onboarding experience and the experience and the support that you get while you're on the product, that's all our joint work with the product team. So marketing and product working together in order to increase the usability of the product, and because we believe that that is the key metric to avoid churn.
So you have shared KPIs with product? Can you maybe share them if it's not classified?
So it's more classified. It's around the usability. It's around watching the users and how they behave within the product. Where do they get stuck? It's the same offering that we give our customers and clients. One of our offering is for the first time, they were working with manual processes or phone processes. They could never track the behavior. They never know where the bottlenecks were. They never know where people were stuck within the process and didn't understand the question. And so now they have this whole world of analytics. It's the same for us. We have this whole world of analytics to see how our user behave within the product. And we want to remove those bottlenecks where we see our users don't understand what we're saying. They don't understand what's the next step. And basically, the bottom line KPI for that is usability. How much the product is being used, how often, how complex are the processes that are being created on the product, and so on and so forth.
I want to dive a bit more into that. So let's, for example, you have a KPI. Let's say someone reached stage 2 or stage 3 of the funnel, or logged in a few days in a row, something of that kind. So when this goes down, are you referring to it? Are you looking at the data and say, oh, my users, nothing changed, there's something in the product, and product will look, oh, the acquisition team is a problem? Are those conversations that you're able to track? Are those conversations that you're having?
So basically what we would do is a few things. We will look at the usability. We will see who uses it, what clients are using it more or less. And then we would try and see if this is like a product or a packaging or messaging issue, or whether it's a customer success issue and it's a training issue, or something. It could be a lot of other things. And with enterprise sales, the fact that we have a customer success also helps the process and we involve them. So it's not just marketing and product, it's also customer success coming into the mix. And we join forces, each one with their own skill set, to basically raise the usability and take the customer when we want to take it.
Roni, what KPIs have you found the most beneficial to either predict or push someone into sales, into further efforts, further high-touch efforts from your product?
So I think it's mostly intent. Intent triggers that we can identify what's the user intent, what they're interested in. So for example, someone that is interested in more advanced features might be a good fit. But I want to say something, a bit more high level. I think at the end of the day, something that I'm very excited about is we're working on a very deep behavioral analysis in order to define the ideal customer, not from the ICP perspective, but from the behavioral point of view. So which actions this great customer took from the moment they reach the platform, day by day, action after action. What point in time did they purchase? What did they do after they purchase, etc. Having this analysis by persona, I do not agree with Gitit there. I do think there is a lot of value to understand personas. I know in Duda it helps us a lot. But just imagine having those kind of data. I'm not data because we have the data, but actual behavioral analysis that can show you the beacon of what kind of customer is the right customer for you, and then identify, very early in the funnel who is going the right path and who is going the wrong path in a way. And based on those behavioral actions and activities and triggers, you can do a lot of things. You can, funnel it to sales. You can make sure that other features will be discovered and specific features. You can see that there is a problem and CS need to be involved. So I think that is something I'm very excited about that can broaden how we look at usability and churn and other stuff like that.
Speaking of KPIs, it's interesting, Jake, have you noticed a difference in the amount of data that your CEO or the board is requesting in the last few years? Look, I remember that marketing was about leads, MQLs was the top of the line, and within 4 or 5 years, everybody wants to look at pipeline contribution. No one knows what it means, by the way. No one knows that it's not measurable really, but never mind. That's a whole different panel for a whole different time. But do you notice that I find a correlation between products moving online and SaaS and requests for more data, even if this data is maybe not necessarily meaningful. Do you notice the same?
Well, I think that there's endless shiny objects and people want more data because it exists. And that's our role, is to focus as to what's valuable. And as a marketer, you've got money. So everyone wants to sell you something with the new tool, the new data, and you have to be pretty careful about what you think is important, what you buy. So that's where you have to stand up and say, this is important, this is not important. I do see a welcome trend towards more accountability of spend and how it reflects on the bottom line. And I love that. If you've ever led a business and put your own money into it, that's a young company has to be very dollar focused about how much is hitting the bottom line. And then you pursue that through the funnel. And so that's where the metrics have moved. It used to be MQL talk. That's how we get those numbers. I don't even want to talk about it. I think that's useless. How much pipe was created, but the cycle time, those are more interesting things that we look at. So the request for more data, I think I've tried to make a stance as to, well, what's that trying to get us? What's our goal? And do we really think that those are leading indicators towards more money and better customers? So let's really, our dashboard hasn't increased. We keep the same 10 metrics, which we are working on. And then behind that, there are hundreds of initiatives, and each team member has the thing that they're responsible for. I don't report on that. That's for me to manage. Is that important? Do I need site visits? Do I want social engagement? Are those interesting? someone's trying to sell me something about social engagement. Do I want to buy that? I'm not going to put it on my dashboard because I'm not, until it's proven that that's driving money. So my dashboard remains the same slim one that it was before. It's probably gone more money minded, which I love. And there are endless requests for data, of which I suppressed most of them because I think that they're not really contributing to the end goal that I'm responsible for. So that's how I look at it.
We are about to finish soon, so I want to have two rounds of quick questions. Gitit, what is your morning KPI? The one thing that you look at before you open your, well, obviously after you open your eyes, but the first thing you see that you look on a daily basis to see that everything is on as it should be.
New opportunities.
Opportunities? Net created opportunities? Roni?
Yes.
New trials.
New trials?
At the end of the day, this is, this is how the pipeline starts. So yeah, new trials.
Jake, same question?
Well, it's opportunity and value of opportunity.
Cool. So not much have changed after all. Okay, last question, marketing. It's the most fun question ever. What is your favorite marketing stack or favorite tool that you're using now that you find most beneficial? Let's start with you again, Jake.
Zapier. It just zaps all of the different pieces together. I love it. And I'm not the smartest with it, but I want that plus that. And it's the plus sign, which I love because I have ideas which are stimulated from everywhere. And I don't need any technology guru. We call it the third floor and the fourth floor. Fourth floor can do what we want with Zapier. And that's the most empowering thing. So Zapier.
Gitit?
Salesloft. The fact that I can manage cadences in such a cool, fast way, and I can see how everything is going, and I can optimize so easily and quickly, and everything is like in control. For a control freak like me, that's heaven.
Roni?
Mixpanel. Having the data, the behavioral data, how users move from one direction to the other direction, what features impact their decision, that's by far my favorite tool.
I remember I worked in a startup quite a few years back, and the product person only dealt with user stories. And I was requesting to feed Mixpanel with data, and everybody was shocked. Why does marketing need to feed Mixpanel? And I really hope this conversation changes. As for marketing stack, so marketing entry obviously is a HubSpot diamond partner, so I have to recommend HubSpot. But speaking of Salesloft and Zapier, I'm a big tech lover and marketing tech lover. But with the years, I want less tech to do more stuff. Even if it's not the best, even if it's the most shiny, I just don't want to integrate anymore. I used to work Zapier and I just tired of integrations. But I admit that the options there are endless, and this is the whole thing of SaaS, right? Endless possibilities with the difficult things and the good things it comes with. Famous last words from anyone? A sentence to get our audience, something you take with them, the best advice you got this week? Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Gitit, Jake, Roni, appreciate it, and looking forward to talk to you about these things and others in other occasions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye now.